Hello YouTube. This video will help you with reformatting your bank transaction downloads into a usable layout for quick copy-paste to your checkbook spreadsheet. I'm going to talk through 3 different example bank transaction downloads, and hopefully you will find that one of these is similar to yours, or that at least hearing the thought process for this will get you to your desired format. Now I have on my screen several sample bank transaction downloads. The first one here is sample checking number 1, sample credit union number 1, sample checking number 2, and they all have some differences, and it'll be helpful to talk through the thought process for reformatting each of these. But let's start with the goal. We want to get our bank transaction downloads into this column layout where we have a date column, transaction type, check number, description, withdrawal, and credit. So it's those 6 columns, and we would also prefer to have the transactions in ascending date order when we're all done. The ultimate goal will be to have our transactions in this layout so that we can quickly select that data, copy it to our clipboard, and then paste it into our checkbook spreadsheet like this one. All right, we'll talk through this first example. This particular bank transaction download has 2 different date columns, a posted date and a transaction date, and then a transaction type, check number, description, amount. Is actually fairly close to our desired end result. Now, as part of the thought process in going through this, ultimately you may want to be able to record a macro. For example, I have multiple one-click buttons in my Excel that I can download my transactions, click that button, and it very quickly reformats the download for quick copy paste to my checkbook. And I'll link in the description for this video this other video on how to record a macro for bank transaction downloads. All right, so back to our first sample. Again, our goal will be this, and for this first sample we have to decide which date column we want. We've got posted date and a transaction date. And I do want to make mention that you may want to practice doing a reformat before you attempt your first macro. But when you're ready to do a macro recording, you'd visit that view menu, look for that button for macros, tell it to record. It's going to ask you to give it a name. You want to make sure it's going to record in your personal macro workbook, etc. Again, that's all covered in the other video, but we're just going to do a practice of reformatting a bank transaction download. Now, with this one having 2 date columns, again, we have to decide which one we actually want. My personal preference would be to go with the posted date because that's going to better align with the monthly statement when I would get that. My first decision would likely be that I'll delete this other date column. So I'm doing a right click. If you're on a Mac computer, I think maybe like on your touchpad, it might be a 2-finger touch or a command click, but you'll hear me frequently say I right click. So I'm going to do a right click on this B column and just delete that particular one column. Now it just happens that I've now got the first 4 columns correct. I've got a date column, a transaction type, the check number, and description, so that's all good. Now, if I were, again, doing this as a macro, I probably want to go ahead and widen all the columns. One really quick way is if you click in this corner area there, which selects the entire worksheet, and then get your mouse in between the seam of any 2 columns and do a double click. That tells Excel to widen the columns to fit the content. Now, what I'm still missing here will be the withdrawal and credit. So again, back to our goal, we want to have a withdrawal and credit column. So what I would next do is insert 2 more columns after description and before this amount. So I'll go ahead and do that twice. I'm right clicking on the columns to insert and go ahead and give that a heading. I do want to make mention that the exact wording of your headings won't really matter too much because we won't be copying and pasting the headings. We're just going to be ultimately copying and pasting the data. Now, in this example bank transaction, we have just a single column for amount. Sometimes the numbers are positive, sometimes they're negative. This particular bank transaction actually had the dollar signs in there, so Excel just automatically assumed a currency format with red for negative numbers. But you can see when my mouse is on one of those red numbers, it's actually a negative number. Okay, so here's our first formula. So I'm going to click in this withdrawal column and type my equal sign on the keyboard, and then type the word if, and then an open parenthesis. And I'm going to then click on that amount column, which happens to be the G2 in this particular case. And I'm going to say, okay, well, if G2 is less than 0, which would be all these negative or red numbers. So if it's less than 0, and then I type a comma, what do I want? Well, what I will want will be the G2 value, but I don't want it to be a negative number, so I'm going to multiply it by a -1. And that will convert it to a positive number. And then I have to type a comma. Okay, well, what value do I want if it's false, if that G2 value is not less than 0? Well, then I just will have it give me a 0. And I'll press the Enter key. And now I want to copy that formula way down. Now, for this particular sample, I could just grab that bottom corner, drag it down through there, and that would work just fine. If I'm doing this as part of a macro, I'd want to keep in mind that a future download of transactions, maybe there'd be 50 rows, 100 rows. So if I'm doing this as part of a macro, I'd probably want to drag this way down through a whole lot of rows and then scroll back up. So you see now that when it did encounter a value that was less than 0, it did go ahead and give me that value multiplied by -1 to turn it into a positive number. Okay, next we'll go to the credit column, and again I'm going to type $if, and I'm going to hit the tab key this time. It actually automatically gives me the open parenthesis. Okay, our logical test will be to click on the amount column, and if it is greater than 0, comma, then we actually want that amount as is. And then I'll type another comma, and if it's false, well, just give us a 0. Close parenthesis, press the Enter key, and there we go. Now again, I'd want to also copy that formula all the way down. One quick thing I can do is if I get my cursor in just the right spot in that bottom corner where I see that black plus symbol and do a double click, that automatically copies that formula all the way down to match with the other column right there. So I've now achieved my goal that I need. I don't have to worry about reformatting these numbers into currency format or even 2-digit decimals. When you do your copy paste, so for example, if I were to highlight this text right there and then copy that to my clipboard, I'm doing a right click and choosing copy. When I go over to my checkbook, and this is just a sample checkbook spreadsheet, here's where I'd like to go ahead and paste that. And it's super important that I always do paste as values, or sometimes it's called paste special. So for example, here under the paste button, in the Windows version of Excel, they put the button right there. On the Mac version, I think is a slightly different position. And again, might be called paste special, but again, we're after that one is paste special paste values. And so you notice that as soon as I do that paste, it is doing the correct number format, a comma for the thousand separators and 2 decimal places. All right, so that was our first sample. Now I'm going to go over to the next one over here. And this one will be quite a bit different from the previous one. Now again, keeping in mind that ultimately I probably want to record a macro for these, but the first time through I'll just manually do the reformat as a practice before attempting to record a macro. So first thing I'm going to do with this one, again, I'm going to click in that corner and then double click in the seam between 2 columns to do the auto wide of the column width. And when I look at this sample, I do have a column for date, description, memo, which is almost a duplication of description, a debit amount, credit amount, balance, and then also a check number column. So again, our goal will be these 6 columns. So going back to this sample here, the first thing I would do is I would actually just delete this entire A column. Is totally not needed because it tends to be sort of a summarization of the rest of the information. So I would do a right click on a column and then choose delete. So I've now got the date column in the right spot, but I still need my transaction type and check number. Now I do see I've got a check number column over here. So if I do a right click on that and cut it, and then come over here to the B column, do a right click on the B column and tell to insert cut cells. That's Excel's way of moving a column. Okay, but I still want my transaction type column before that, so I'm going to do a right click on the B column and tell to insert a new column, and then go ahead and put in that label for transaction type. Okay, so our first 4 columns are in good shape. but now I still need the withdrawal and credit column. So I'm going to right click here on this one and insert. I'm going to do that twice to get my two empty columns. And again, call this one withdrawal and this one credit. The memo column in this case probably is something I wouldn't want. I might opt to delete it, or I might opt to move it to the end. So I think I'll go ahead and do that cut, and then right click on the K column, in this case insert cut cells. That's moving it out of the way. And for our first formula for withdrawal, we'll type in that equal sign IF. I'm going to hit the tab key. My logical test would be to look at this column, because that's where we are seeing the debit or withdrawal amount. So I'll just click on that. And so if I see a number there and that number is less than 0, so I'll type in less than 0, then what we want, and I'm typing a comma, so the value if true will be that I want this G5 number, but I want to multiply it by that -1 so I can turn it into a positive, and type another comma. The value if false will be a 0, close parenthesis, hit the enter key. So there it gave me my $500. And again, if you followed the previous one, I want to copy that formula way down, thinking for the future that maybe future transaction downloads that have lots of rows, so I might want to drag that way down. So I see that after doing so, it did correctly grab those two debit amounts. Now going over to the credit column, we'll do that equal sign IF, hit the tab key, and now I'm looking to see, okay, is there a number here in this credit column, and is it greater than 0? So I'm going to type greater than 0 and comma. And so what I want, if this is true, well, then I actually just want that value. So I'm just going to click on that H5 cell to give me that. Type a comma. The value of false will be a 0. And close parenthesis, hit enter. And then again, copy that formula down. So I could either drag that down or just do the double click in that corner and get that formula copied down. So that's looking good. Now again, if I were doing this as a macro, I probably want to make some pretty formatting just for aesthetic reasons. So a couple things I might do. I might go ahead and re-click on that corner and do the double click just to change the width, and probably would highlight those headings, give it bold, maybe give it a favorite highlight color. Totally optional. But again, if I were making this part of a macro, probably something I would do. And then I would tell the Excel macro to stop recording if I had started one. Now before I would stop the macro, I noticed that the date column is in descending order instead of ascending order. So I probably would want to include in my macro the sorting of this. Now it could be that I would just not include that in the macro and just do that manually before I do my copy paste. But if I click here in that first cell and then find the sort option, sort oldest to newest, click on that, that would get my transactions in the ascending order. And then when I'm ready, I can start to then select the values, copy it to my clipboard, paste to my checkbook. Okay, we're going to move on to our third and final transaction download. And this one is definitely different from the others. We've got a column for account number, description, transaction date, a transaction type, an amount, and a balance. So again, if I'm doing this as part of a macro, I think I would want to click in that corner to select the whole worksheet, double click in between two column letters to auto widen. And next, I definitely want to get my date column as the first column. So I right click on that, tell to cut, right click on the A column heading, and insert those cut cells to get the date moved over to there. This account number column I don't want or need in my reformat, so I might opt to either delete it, or again, it's part of a macro. I think what would be safest is that I would just cut and move it out of the way. So I'll just right click cut, right click insert cut cells to move it out of the way. But I still need the transaction type and check number. I do see I've got a transaction type, so right click cut, right click insert cut cells, and then for check number, I'm just going to right click and insert a blank column. In this particular bank format, I'm not seeing a column for check number, but if there were one, I would certainly move it into place. But in this case, I don't see one, so I'm just going to manually add a check number column. Now I do have a description column, so that's good. And then I've got just a generic transaction amount. Notice, however, that all the numbers are positive, and I'm going to have to rely on this column to know when it's a credit versus a debit. But first we need to get those withdrawal and credit columns in place. So I'm doing a right click, insert. That came out pretty wide because it matches the previous column width. So I'll shrink that down a little bit, do another right click, insert, and then go ahead and put in my column headings. And our first formula, this will definitely be different from the others. So again, though, we'll start with the equal sign, if, and I'm going to hit the tab key. Our test is going to be to look at this transaction type. So if that cell, so I'm clicking on it, equals, and then I'm going to put into quotes the word debit, end quote. So if that cell equals the word debit, type a comma, well, then we want to have this number as is. And if it's not that word debit, then just give us a 0, close parenthesis, and I'm going to hit the enter key. And then again, I want to copy that formula way down. So for this quick example, just copy it down a few rows. But you see that it did correctly know to grab the amount when the transaction type is the word debit. Okay, we'll come over to credit. We're going to do something very similar. Equals IF. I'm going to hit the tab key. All right, so our logical test is if the word is credit. So first we're going to type or click on that cell, equals credit, in quotes, type a comma. Well, then we want the transaction amount because it's a credit. And if it's not, so I'm typing a comma. So if the value is false, then just give us a 0, close parenthesis, hit the enter key. And again, copy that formula down, but I'll just do a quick double click. So we see that we now have the value coming when it's the word credit versus debit as we want it to be. Again, if this were part of a macro, I probably would make it pretty before I ended the macro. So I would maybe add some bold and highlight. This is another example where the date column is not in the right order. So I might see if I could record the sorting of this in the macro. So going over to the sort and filter button, telling it to sort oldest to newest, and then stop my macro recording. So I've now got these in the right layout, and when I'm ready, I could select the values, copy to my clipboard, paste it to my checkbook, and I'm good to go. Now, hopefully those examples will get you to where you need to be for your transaction download formats. Refer to my article listed below for some other example bank transaction downloads and the formulas for those. Hope that helps, and thanks for watching.